Hey guys, and welcome into the Hoop Sneakers YouTube channel, or the IGTV, or the Facebook page, or wherever else you may be checking out this video. You're with me, Dan, aka Hoop Sneakers, and today I've got the performance review on these guys right here. This is the Adidas Dame 7, the 7th iteration of Damian Lillard's signature sneaker with Adidas. With this pair, this is the first review that's going to be going up on like YouTube, IGTV, and it's going to have a written review on the website where I'm actually reviewing a sneaker that hasn't been sent to me by a brand or a website that I haven't been gifted. So I did actually purchase these guys with my own money, and so of course, like I already sort of liked them going in, or at least liked the way they looked. I'm a big fan of Damian Lillard. I'm a big fan of the Dame signature sneaker line. And so, you know, with that being said, you can obviously take my opinion for what it is. And the other caveat I'll add, or the other bit of intro stuff that I'll be doing in this video, is that I'll be doing the review of the 7s, sort of in comparison and in contrast with the Dame 6s that I've got set over here. So it'll be a little bit of a 2-for-1 special, but obviously we're going to be focusing on the 7s, these guys here. But I do have the 6s here, and there are obviously some things from the 6 to the 7 that I do want to contrast and compare between the two models. That pretty much takes care of all the intro stuff. So we'll get things started off with the traction on the Dame 7. So I'll give you guys a look, and hopefully you can see it there. But so the Adidas Dame 7 features sort of a lightning bolt traction pattern, and around the outside you can sort of the lightning bolts break apart into like little 7s, which is kind of a cool touch that I didn't notice initially when I was first checking out all the details of the sneaker. I actually picked up that little tidbit from the Wear Testers initial review on the 7s, and Jody pointed that out to Chris, which was I hadn't noticed that myself. So you've got a lightning bolt traction pattern, and this particular colorway offers a solid rubber outsole. You can see obviously that it's just the one color on this inside portion of the outsole, so it's just white, and then you've got the marbled white and purple bordering that on the outside portion of the outsole. Now the actual performance of the traction, it works really well both indoors and outdoors. So it actually, in my opinion, is a pretty good outdoor option in terms of traction, because you get a really good bite on like a blacktop or an asphalt in particular, and the rubber is like pretty it's pretty hard rubber, so it offers you pretty good durability outdoors. I've played in them outdoors a few times, and I haven't noticed there starting to be any noticeable signs of wear and tear on the rubber there. So they perform well, and I think they'd be durable for outdoors. And not only that, the grooves are pretty widely spaced apart, and then they are sort of like pretty shallow. It's a pretty flat traction pattern. So whilst that might not be the best thing for durability, it is good in terms of not getting like any debris, like any loose, little loose stones or any twigs or anything like that. Don't really get caught up in here like a more narrower, tightly packed pattern would. And then going to indoor play, so on the hardwood, you've got a traction pattern which it's a pretty silent pattern. You get a tiny little bit of squeak initially on the hardwood when the outsole's really clean. They don't squeak too much. They offered me really adequate performance. They do tend to pick up just a little bit of dust, but it's a really easy wipe, like I said, because the grooves are pretty flat and they're wide enough. So it's a really light wipe. Just to clear off the dust. You might need to do that 2 or 3 times a game, and then after that light wipe, you're good to go. So traction is good. The traction, I think a lot of people would believe that traction is improved over the 6s. The 6s had a herringbone traction pattern, but a lot of people had issues with the translucent rubbers on the Dame 6. I personally had no issues with the traction on the Dame 6, and I actually enjoyed it, but I know that a lot of people didn't. And in that respect, I think those people would consider the 7s to be a significant upgrade in the traction department. Now, moving on to the cushion. So the Dame 6 and the Dame 7 implement Adidas's proprietary foam Light Strike, which is a lightweight EVA blend, aiming to offer both, responsiveness and springiness and bounciness and all that stuff that the brands always tell you. So Dame 6 was my first experience with Light Strike, and it's been my only experience with Light Strike, and then we're on to the Dame 7, which also features Light Strike. So I'll just talk about the 6 briefly first. So the Light Strike midsole on the Dame 6s, I really, really liked it. It offered me everything that I like out of a cushion. Really plush, really springy, just like a really pillowy ride, and I really enjoyed it quite a bit. So I had high expectations of the 7. Now, when I first stepped into the Dame 7s, immediately I was a little bit disappointed with the cushion. So what I feel like Adidas has done with the Light Strike midsole of the 7s is that they've thinned it out quite a bit, especially at the forefoot, and it's geared more towards like responsiveness and like quote unquote court feel. So you don't have quite as much of like that bouncy sensation in the forefoot cushion of the Dame 7. I know it looks like there's quite a bit here, but you do sit quite a bit within the midsole, which is obviously a good thing in terms of support. The heel cushion is still really nice. You get a nice little bit of compression from the heel cushion, and you get a plush feeling, and you get impact protection back there on those like hard heel strike landings from rebounds and such. So what I did with the 7s is I actually popped in an aftermarket insole. So it's just a basic insole you could buy in like pharmacies and supermarkets. It's just got a little bit of additional cushion, and so it just adds a little bit more step-in comfort, which is what I like. And so after I added in an aftermarket insole, I did really enjoy the ride in these. So just keep that in mind. If you are someone that likes a lot more cushion, you may need to add in, an aftermarket insole from another sneaker that you really like the step-in comfort of. However, you still get good impact protection, and I think you still get a pretty decent foam midsole from a sneaker that's in the US $110 price bracket. So while I personally was a little disappointed upon first step in, I still think that it's a pretty decent and solid cushion setup overall. So moving on to the fit, I think we'll go to fit next. So that was another big issue with these guys, the Dame 6. So what you had is with the 6s, you had a fit that the sneaker ran really long, and there was quite a bit of volume above the toe as well. So I like the Dames because I think that they're forgiving for a wide footer. I consider the Dame line to be, especially in the last couple of models, I consider them to be wide foot friendly. So that's what I like about them personally, because I am a wide footer. But going from the 6s to the 7s, the fit on the Dame 7 is much improved from that of the 6s. So what they've done is Adidas has done a really good job of reducing a lot of that additional length at the end of the toe, and also eliminating some of the excess volume in the toe box. There obviously still is a little bit of volume there because I was able to add an insole and have no issues. They're still wide foot friendly, so I can go true to size, which is a US men's 11. And the length, there's still a little bit of length there for someone like me who likes a little bit of length, so I don't have my toes banging up against the front of the shoe. But it's not an excessive amount of length, because even I thought that the Dame 6s were really, really long, and like I don't mind too much, but it definitely was noticeable. So they fixed up the fit quite a bit with the 7s. So my recommendation is, so wide footers are fine going true to size like I did. Most everyone else will maybe want to consider going down a half a size. I think that's your best bet. I don't think anyone would need to consider going down a full size unless you just like really love a really snug fit, or you have a really like narrow foot or whatever. But I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend most people would want to, most normal footers, or if you like your foot to be pretty much at the end of the sneaker, would maybe want to go down half a size. Or else if you're a wide footer like me, just go true to size, you'll be fine. And if you don't like that dead space above your toe, you can just add in a little bit of a thicker insole. The support on the Dame 7s, is just like good. It's completely fine. It's adequate. It gives you everything you need, nothing that you don't. Really straightforward. Usual support features. So you have the wide forefoot base. It is somewhat exaggerated at the lateral forefoot to be a bit of an outrigger. As I alluded to with the cushion, you do sit within the foam midsole. There is a TPU midfoot torsional bar for additional rigidity through the midfoot. You have a fairly, it's not the like tallest or like biggest TPU heel counter, but it's pretty sturdy in the back there. You got a traditional lacing system so you have like lacing cables, which actually run through the sneaker, and they do a really awesome job of drawing your heel right back into the back portion of the sneaker, so you're all locked down and in place. So you've got there's a little bit. So Damian Lillard's player editions of the 7 actually replaced the cables with like traditional lace eyelets in the upper of the sneaker, and a lot of people were talking about that in regards to why does Dame have eyelets rather than the lacing cables that we get as the consumers now. I think that the lace cables that we have here, the lace loops made out of that nylon cabling, I actually think they're really good, and they do a good job of both locking you in, or do a good job of drawing your heel into the back of the sneaker, and also like giving you really good lockdown when you yank the laces closed and tie your sneakers up. I actually like the way that the cables felt. So personally, I enjoyed it, and I thought they did a good job in aiding with the support of the sneaker. But as I said, it's a sort of like I guess it's almost a mid. I consider these, I guess they're a low to mid sneaker. That the heel goes up pretty high. There's some like nice Achilles notches there to kind of keep, and nice sculpting in the back to keep your heel where it needs to be. But the support is really good, and I had no issues with trusting this sneaker to give me the support that I needed. And then just to finish things off with the materials, that's actually another aspect of the sneaker I will compare to, maybe not necessarily these guys at 6s here, although I think there were some, complaints, critiques, issues that people had with the materials of the 6, but also with the materials of the Dame 5. So in comparison to the previous 2 sneakers in the line, this Dame 7 has actually some quite nice materials. So that, it's just pretty standard textiles and synthetics like most modern performance basketball sneakers nowadays. But the textile mesh they've used here feels much higher quality than some of the materials used on the previous Dames. And it does a pretty good job of almost being close to what you might expect from a traditional like premium knit material. You've got some like synthetic overlays on the upper. They're almost like a synthetic like nubuck maybe. They like a synthetic leather, and they feel not bad. They feel quite nice actually. So that's just a nice touch to have. But like overall, materials, I'm not so worried about what the sneaker materials are, just so long, especially for performance sneakers, just so long as the materials do the job that they're supposed to do in keeping me on the footbed of the sneaker, then I'm pretty happy with them. But as I said, I consider these materials on the Dame 7 to be a lot nicer than some of the materials we've received on the previous couple of Dame models, and considering that the price of the sneaker is still at that US $110, then that's a pretty good result. So that pretty much takes care of it for me in terms of reviewing the performance of the Dame 7. Now, I really like them quite a lot, which I sort of alluded to from the outset, but I absolutely would recommend them if you like the way that the Dame 7s look and you're thinking about getting a pair. I definitely recommend picking them up and giving them a go, because I think they're really good performers. But with all that being said, thanks for watching, guys. You can head to the Hoop Sneakers website, which is hoopsneakers.wordpress.com, to check out the written review, which also includes their price, which I've obviously discussed a few times, their weight, and the score I gave them. You can obviously check me out on the main place you can find me is on Instagram at hoops_sneakers_. I'm most active there. I'll reply to comments, DMs, etc. On my Instagram page. But with all that being said, until next time, guys, this has been Dan, aka Hoop Sneakers, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.